You know, I've been doing Pray It Off for 6.5 years. I'm Ellen McCauley in Syracuse, New York. And everyone says, you know, Ellen, where do you get the topics? Where do you come up with the ideas? More than ever, I've been praying that God would put on my heart, what do you need this group to hear? What do they need to hear? This week, I could have talked about sensible breakfasts, or given out the 1,400 calorie diet, or the 1,500 calorie diet, or what to put in your shopping list. But I kept hearing the word no, that we need, as a group, to learn what the power is in the word no. So I started researching it. And it's such a valuable topic. Not just no to certain foods or to certain things, but to certain activities, certain overextensions. We're going to start right now by talking about the way the word no can set us free. It's like surrendering to God is a way of saying no to some of our own free will. So many times we have goals of our own and we are constantly deflected from those goals. Like, I really wanted to exercise, but then I got that phone call, or I really wanted to do this, but they wanted me to be on this committee. No is a hidden power because it's easily misunderstood and it's difficult. It's difficult to do. Many of us have a difficult time saying no, and we're going to talk about that because so often no is confused with negativity. You think, well, they'll think I'm negative, or they won't think I'm a good person. And as Catholic Christians, we want to be perceived as good, as kind, as loving. So how does that word no mix in with that? Negativity, on the other hand, is a chronic attitude. Just because you say no to a few things doesn't mean you're negative. Negativity is an energy zapper. It just, you see those people where the glass is always half empty. You can still say no and be a glass half full person. No is a moment of clear choice. It's Thursday night, you're committed to Pray It Off. Your daughter calls you up and she says, Mom, guess what? My husband came home from work and he wants to take me out to dinner. Can you babysit the kids? Mm-hmm. Your first response is how much you love to yourself. Oh, I love those kids. I love getting my hands on those kids, but I made a commitment to Pray It Off. And then you say, you know what, honey, I'd love to, but it's my meeting night. I'm going to Pray It Off. I'm trying to lose some weight. Oh, Mom, can't you just miss this one meeting? Can't you just weigh in and come? And then you start going down the path, and you're like, well, I could, but I really want to go to the meeting. I find, you know, I get a lot out of the meeting. Well, don't you love me? Don't you love those grandkids of yours? Weren't you the one who wanted me to have kids all those years, and now I got it, Mom, and you're saying you're not going to babysit it? Oh, well, never mind, Mom. I'll get my mother-in-law to babysit. And all of a sudden you're thinking, no, not the mother-in-law. She'll give them hard candy. Oh, my gosh. So you go through all these things. So what you do is you say to yourself, if you train people, nobody messes with my Thursday night. No one. They could give me tickets to the opera. They could give me tickets to Jesus Christ Superstar. Some of my favorite things. I am committed to Pray It Off. How would you like to come in here? Well, I hurried from work and here's my log, but where's Ellen? Oh, she got tickets to the Crunch game. She won't be here tonight. You'd be like, what? How dare she go to the Crunch game? I worked so hard all week, I even walked, I even exercised. But you would say, well, you know, I've been really good. I'm just going to call in. I'll just, you know, tell her I can't make it. We need to make this group, this meeting, a yes by saying no to other things. The buck stops with you. The closer we get to having a barricade of limits, the stronger we are. If your daughter knows, well, I haven't called Mom to babysit. Wait a minute, it's Thursday. Now, my mother watches soap operas from 12:30 to 2 o'clock. Those are her shows. You do not call my mother. So I've been there sometimes. I talk to Mom about something really important. I'm going 1:58. Okay, 1:59, 2 o'clock. I can do it. That's her boundaries. Those are her shows. She doesn't want to chit chat. You call her 2 o'clock, she'll be on the phone with you forever if you let her. But she trained us. You don't call during my shows. We need to set up boundaries. People had a cake today. People say, I didn't have a piece. And they said, they offered, would you like a piece? I know, no problem. Because they know I'm not going to have one because I don't have it at work. We need to have self-discipline. Our no to food is a matter of saying to ourselves, what are my goals? We can say no to second helpings. We can say no to breakfast pizza. Wednesday of this week, it was someone's last day at work. And I would go into this meeting. There are two honker breakfast pizzas. One hit hot, one had bacon all over it. And guess what? My chair is here. And they set the breakfast pizza. I mean, I was like my daytimer, I'm squeezing it over. And then they had a big bowl of fruit. There was pineapple, there was strawberries, there was blueberries. I looked at I don't know about you guys, but I like breakfast pizza. I mean, what's not to like? There's eggs, there's bacon, there's crust. I also thought in my mind, I gotta weigh in, I also thought, there's tons of sodium in there. You know how much sodium's in breakfast pizza? You start having this conversation in your head, and then you go for the fruit, and then I make noises. I go, oh, this pineapple's so good. You have to make choices. No gives you a peace of mind. It makes you feel better about yourself. You can even, when you say no, it can be a part of saying yes. You say, I'm going to say no to watching this show so that I can say yes to working. No is almost the second word we learn. Ever see a 2-year-old? They go, Mama, Dada, no! No! You try to put them in the car seat, no! You know, when people are stopping in Wegmans going, what are you doing to that kid? You know, trying to get him in the car seat. We learn no easy when we're little. And then we seem to have it conditioned out of us. It's not nice to say no. You're not a nice person if you say no. And we're going to learn certain techniques on how to say it better. Where is the line between saying no and being selfish? That's what we don't want. We don't want anyone. If anyone said, oh, Ellen McCauley, yeah, she's kind of selfish. I'd be like, what? Selfish, me? I'd be like crying. Just don't call me anything but selfish. But sometimes if you say no, people go. People go and they get you where it hurts. Also, we need to be true to our principles and values. It tells a little story here about this guy who's having an affair, and he says to his friend, don't tell my wife. Well, the friend's like, oh, doesn't tell his wife. But then the friend says, can I use your vacation home to get away with my girlfriend? So not only did he want him not to tell his wife, he wanted to use his vacation home. There's a line there, buddy. You know, and the guy didn't do it, and the friend got kind of ticked about it. Hello? And then, you know, sometimes you might say to yourself, are my values more important than this friendship? And sometimes it is. Also, we also need to not be exploited. You know, I can't tell you how many times people call me up and say, Ellen, you're really good at organizing. You're so good at selling. Can you do this? And I'm thinking, well, I am kind of good at organizing, and I'm kind of good at selling. But you have to sometimes say no, because otherwise you won't have enough time in the day. Also, we have to have 1-minute conversations. Another article they talk about here is how somebody doesn't do a lot at work because they're too busy talking to their coworkers. Now, there's a fine line between being a jerk and being a chatty Cathy. I can have 10-second conversations with people at work where they feel loved. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you. I love that top. Boom, boom, off I go. I'm not going to sit by the water cooler and go, so in 1974, what happened with your first husband? How dare he? I don't have time for that at work. I don't. And a lot of people are doing that. Also, we need to have our own be protected. Let me just have a show of hands. Does anyone ever feel anyone's ever taken advantage of them? OMG. Everyone in Blogland, everyone raise their hands. How do we stop from being taken advantage of? Okay. Also, so many of us are afraid to say no because we'd rather admit, we don't want to say we made a mistake. We don't want to say, oh, I made a mistake. How many times have you started a new job and after a couple weeks you're like, kill me now, this was the biggest mistake of my life, I shouldn't have left my old job, oh my gosh, this is a nightmare. But you can't tell anybody because then they'll say, you jerk, why'd you quit your other job? You're so busy trying to protect yourself because you made a mistake that you can't say, no, this is not a good situation. We need to protect ourselves in that way too. Dishing it out is not a warm send. I'm pretty good at it. I've learned, and we're going to talk about how to dish it out. One of the things is you never just say no. You say, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Hey, can I get back to you on that? Off you go in another direction. Oh my gosh, can I think about it? Can I talk it over with my husband? I can sell ice to Eskimos. I have a coffee cup that says, salesmanship begins when the customer says no. And it does. That's when salesmanship begins. You think anybody good in sales, you say, hey, would you like to buy this notebook? And the customer says, no, I don't want that. Okay, thank you, bye. You say, really? Oh my gosh, you already got a notebook? Well, tell me, let's talk about notebooks. Hey, what about your kids? What about this? You get friendly, you get fun. Be careful of salesmen because they're trained to get you to say yes. That's why I always love to hear someone's sales spiel because I want to hear what they do. Also, something else. Somebody's trying to get you to eat their banana bread. You say, yours is the best banana bread ever, but my doctor has me on a special diet. You know, I find that's not so good. You say, oh my gosh, I love banana bread, but when I eat it, I break my heart, starts beating really, really fast. I start having difficulty breathing. Exaggerate a little bit if you have to. One of the things I always say, I've told this group before, you say, oh, I'd love to have that, but I'm feeling a little, like, no, I don't. I'm okay. Then they, ooh, are they going to throw up? Then they walk away. They're not going to force the food on you if they think you're going to throw up. Also, are you a people pleaser? That's for anybody in the group a people pleaser. Oh my gosh! Everyone in Blogland, just about everybody raise their hand. Because we want to be nice. We want people to like us. We don't want people to say, what a jerk. So when you're a people pleaser, it's so hard to say no. And some people will fight your no regardless of the issue. They will needle, they will cajole. And guess who does it the best? Your kids. Your kids do it the best. Because you're thinking, oh, they're my, I think our mistake was we didn't have 10 kids. When you have 10 kids, I remember these families they grew up with, they would just be like, 10 kids, I got enough of them, I don't care what they do. Forget it. 10, something happens to one, I got 9 more. 10, I got 10. Now, you have 1 or 2 kids, and they know all the buttons that you can press. Oh, I love them so much. I don't want them to press that button. We need to stick up for ourselves. We need to have priorities. I'm going to stop right there, Bob.